This TV show is made available to provide general information and a general overview of legal principles. Viewers should not rely on the information provided without consulting an attorney who is licensed to provide legal advice. Topics and ideas shared on this show are not to be used as a substitute for legal advice from a licensed attorney in your state.
Welcome to Under Oath with Michelle Bell. I'm your host, Michelle Bell. I am a licensed attorney, and on this show, I bring fellow attorneys, and we give you, the public, legal information without that consultation fee. Now, I like to start the show off with a segment I call Jury Duty, and that's where I do a trivia question, and the first person to send in the correct answer will receive a gift, and their name will be on the website. So, you ready for the question? All right. It is, in the film Babe, what type of animal was Babe? I mean, that's easy. You should be able to do that. Definitely submit your answer to www.mbunderoath.com. And while you're on the website, go ahead and subscribe so that you can get the notifications of the new shows and other information that we do, like legal tips and stuff. And look at us on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We have a podcast. We're just all over there. So definitely subscribe, please, and you will get these notifications and the great information. Now, don't go anywhere. We have a wonderful guest, and it's going to be talking about immigration law. You know you need to know about it. We'll see you then.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to Under Oath with Michelle Bell. I'm your host, Michelle Bell. I am here with my guest today, Miss Stacey Ann Bradbury of Bradbury Law Practice, LLC. Now, Ms. Bradbury practices immigration, tax, family law, and wills, trusts, and estates, right?
Yep. Got it.
And awesome that she has been sworn into the United States Supreme Court. Yes. It actually happened today.
Yes.
Yay! That is awesome. That really, really is a great accomplishment to have that done.
It is, and thank you. Thank you.
So, welcome to the show, and I'm happy to have you here.
Yes.
Okay?
I'm excited.
All right, so good. So tell the audience, why did you become a lawyer?
Well, I became a lawyer because the easiest answer is I wanted to help people. And as I got older, I began to realize that it's always about helping people, but it's about truly advocating for people whose voice will never be heard because they are unable to explain or maybe even just scared to talk, you know. So they want to come to someone like a best friend or to say, hey, listen, this is my problem. Can you help me with it? And I take that seriously. And I'm happy about jumping into this world of law as much as it is very stressful and challenging. I love it. So I became a lawyer because I want to help people. It is about helping people, and that's what I do.
That's a great answer. It really is.
Thanks.
All right, so what topic are we going to discuss today?
Well, we could start with immigration. You know, I do immigration, and immigration is always big.
Yes, so especially lately,
Yes.
Immigration is just such a hot topic. With what's going on in the world today. It really is. So everybody wants to know. So all right, so I know immigration is such a big topic. Mm-hmm. So what part are you going to discuss today?
Well, I'll discuss the areas that I specifically deal with. Okay. And I do a lot of what they would say family immigration. So usually it's people who are looking to come to the country and be sponsored by a relative.
Okay.
Okay, and getting their green card. So green card sponsoring, and I also do deportation, removal defense. So I represent the people who the government, ICE, has decided are here unlawfully or should not be here for whatever reason, and I step in and represent them and see if we can get them to stay or make their removal a lot less stressful.
Oh man, that sounds very interesting and very stressful.
That's exactly what it is.
It really does.
It's exactly what it is.
Okay, cool. So which part of it are you going to discuss first?
Well, we can talk about just how it works in the immigration scene when we're trying to petition or sponsor a relative. Because a lot of times, I mean, this is the melting pot of the world, right?
Right.
United States of America. So we have families from all over who are looking to bring up a loved one. They left their families behind, looking for a better life and establish some kind of foundation so that they can bring that family member who is suffering in that country.
Right.
Okay. So here we are, bringing you in and understanding what that process is. Right?
Okay, so what is the process?
That's a big thing.
If you want to bring your family members. So I'm here in the country and I want Big Mama to come over. What do I do?
Big Mama from where?
So it matters. It's a different process depending on where they're coming
Well,
from?
yeah. It
Okay,
can
so
be.
let's
It can
go
be.
with my family's Jamaican. So let's say, I know, right? So let's get Big Mama from Jamaica to come.
Okay.
What do I do?
So here's the thing. If you're sponsoring for a parent, you have, that's a drawn out process.
Okay.
Because here it is, the government allows you to sponsor a relative based on the relationship.
Okay.
So with mom is a distant relative. Hate to say that.
Really?
For the purpose of immigration, yes. She's a distant relative. So if you file for her, you can. They allow you to, but her process is going to take many, 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 many years before she's actually allowed to get here.
Really?
Yes.
Mom,
Mom.
like the person that gave birth?
The person that
to
gave
you?
birth. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so what's not a distant relative in immigration?
Your child, especially if they're a minor. If you are married and your husband is away in Jamaica, you can bring him up quickly because there's what they call a visa ready number. There's no waiting period for that. It happens automatically. That process can take up to a year. Okay? You file your papers, you make sure all the necessary documentation is in order, and put it into the government, they process it, and he gets up here. All right?
Okay.
Now, of course, that's the easy explanation. There's some pulls here and turns here.
Okay.
He can't have criminal record. He has to have, he's not medically challenged, any diseases, those kinds of concerns. We can't have them. You also have to be able to sponsor financially your relative. It's not just sign a name on a dotted line and here is your relative. Can you afford it? Okay, and there's an actual breakdown of the income you are expected to have, a minimum, a base income you're expected to have. So it's important that people prepare financially for filing for a relative. I know so many people have done that, and by the time they get all the other stuff done, when it comes to the money, they're like, this is not enough. You know, a family of for three, that number could be $25,000.
Now, is that $25,000 for the year
But yeah.
that you make, or is that $25,000 on top of what you currently make as your salary?
No, $25,000 for the year. Your salary should be at least $25,000
To bring up one person.
to bring up one person. If you are a family of three, so
okay.
you can have other people living in your house. Okay, so it would be you and say another child or a relative. They're going to count all of that because that is your household.
Okay.
So in truth, if you have two people in your house plus yourself and the other party, that's actually four people. Then it goes up. So the more people that's in your household, which will include the person you're sponsoring, the number, the income goes up. So people aren't aware of that, and they need to be aware because it's about money. If you cannot financially take care of your relative that you're sponsoring, you're not going to be allowed to bring them up because they will be what the government concerns themselves with as a public charge.
Right.
Okay.
Now, for those that don't know what a public charge is, what is a public charge?
A public charge is someone who's going to be dependent on the government for their needs, medical needs, food needs, the necessities.
Okay.
And as it is, how the way our country is America first. And so since it's, and in truth, this has always been in
Right.
play. But now that we're dealing with someone who's making a big push to maintain that America first mindset, you really need to make sure you have your money in order to bring your family members over.
Okay. All right, so now I have to think twice. I may not be able to bring mommy over,
Right.
but I can bring my spouse over.
Right.
Okay, so if we have that spouse and, all right, so I want to bring my spouse over. What do I need to do to, what's the process?
Okay. So we start off with first step, petitioning for your spouse. So what we're doing, we're asking the Immigration Services, United States Service, to acknowledge the relationship.
Okay.
Okay? It's first about acknowledging the relationship. They have to determine that you are actually married to this person. Okay?
So a little marriage license, is that enough or?
It sounds simple. Yeah, a little marriage license to show that, oh, they're married. So yeah, of course, this is my husband.
That's not enough.
Sometimes it's not because we're dealing with circumstances where they could say, hey, this marriage is not legit. This marriage was only in play because they just want to get over here.
Oh, okay. I see
Okay?
what you're saying.
And there's some things that they look into to see if that's the case. They call it a marriage sham.
Okay.
So, and marriage fraud. And if they find that there's a marriage fraud, that I-130, which is the application that is used to petition for the spouse or any relative, is the I-130, that application will then be denied. I have a case where the wife married her husband, and I represent the husband. He was found marriage fraud. Their relationship was based on marriage fraud, according to the government. And one of the examples they used was the wife spoke only English, and the husband spoke Spanish.
Aha.
So how can you communicate? And then we had a matter of they weren't living together.
Okay.
So, those little things, sometimes couples don't live together.
Right.
But because of maybe job purposes or some reason,
Right.
some reasonable reason. But when you couple them with other weird scenarios, like we cannot communicate, then how did you get married? How did you profess love for one another? How did that actually happen? People need to think. You learn your language, know the language of your spouse, So, if you have that, you're going to get denied. But if that is not the issue, you're fine. That I-130 goes through and approved. And then the next step, depending on where you are, if you're in the United States, there's something called the adjustment of status. If it's in the country, outside of the country,
Right.
then it's a consular processing where it's done in your home country.
Okay, good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a break.
Oh, okay.
And then when we come back, we'll get into more of the process. And then I really do want to hear about the deportation, like defending and really what you can and can't do.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people need to know that.
Yes.
So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
In an attic, miniature construction worker figurines aim jackhammers into the holes of a leather belt. Standing on scaffolding, painter figurines work on the back of a red high-heeled shoe while others appear to paint the tip. Under a bed, a figurine of a patient lies tucked in the pocket of a white shirt while doctor and nurse figurines stand nearby. Mechanic figurines install a SIM card into a laptop. Nearby, more figurines stand among numerous household items. Your stuff can help fund job training and placement in your community. The Goodwill and Ad Council logos appear. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org.
Welcome back to Under Oath with Michelle Bell. I'm your host, Michelle Bell. So we're back with my guest, Miss Stacey Ann Bradbury of Bradbury Law Practice,
Yes, ma'am.
LLC, yes. Then you do immigration, family law, tax, and wills, estates, and trusts, right?
Got it. Yep.
Got it. So now we're going to go into our segment, which is called Office Hours. And that's where we have questions that were submitted by you, the audience. And we're going to have Ms. Bradbury answer them.
Yes.
All right. You ready for the first question?
All
Now,
right.
these were emailed to me, so I don't have the audio like normal.
Okay.
So it's just going to be me reading it to you, and then you answer it the best that you can.
That's fine.
Okay? Cool.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is the usual processing time for filing for a relative?
Okay. Well, sort of covered that earlier, but it's important to go over. If we're talking about a spouse or a minor child, the processing time would be about a year. Okay? And
Now, that's a year before they can get here, or total, including them
a
getting
year,
to
a
the United-
year
in the-
before it gets here, and it's how quickly you actually finish your application process.
Okay.
So some people don't have all the paperwork together to file the document immediately, but if you do, the process can take about a year because there's some things in between that will take place, but it's about a year.
About a year. Okay, and the next question is, what does President Trump mean when he says chain migration?
Our president. Okay, well, chain migration, it actually talks, it's similar to the first question in the sense of relatives.
Okay.
Part of the immigration allows for family members in America to file for their relatives, but it also takes it from an extended point of view. So it's not only parents, but you can file for aunts and uncles and grandparents. They don't do that now. Right now, who you file for is you can file for a brother, a sister, or a parent. But it's a chain of a family chain.
Okay.
And he seemingly, that's a problem now, so he wants to limit that. I don't know how that will work. I mean, he benefited from it. His mother-in-law and father-in-law just got their green cards recently. That's part of a chain migration. He would have ended their opportunity to become a resident of this country if he got rid of it. So I'm not sure if he's even aware of what it meant himself. So we will see how that goes. But chain migration is migrating here by way of your family members.
Okay. Well, I thought those were great questions,
Okay.
and I think you did a great job answering them.
Okay,
I mean, I learned a lot because
Okay.
I don't practice immigration. So learning the chain migration and that it's a different process depending on the family member that you want to bring over, that's great to know.
Yes.
So we're going to go back to what we spoke about before the break, where you were going into the process of getting someone from another country here. So I used myself as an example in saying I want to bring over my spouse that's still in Jamaica. So you said that there was a petition
Right.
that have to be signed, that would
Right.
have to be filled out and signed and filed. So after you've done the petition, what do you do next?
Okay, so again, since your scenario is based on a relative in Jamaica, because we also have a lot of times the relative is in the U.S.
Okay.
and they're filing for them even though they're in the U.S. But in our scenario,
Right.
since we're in Jamaica, once that original document, that I-130 application is filed and it comes back approved. That
Right, because
means-
we are legitimately married.
Right, because
like,
we're
yay.
legitimately married,
Okay.
yes. So now, when we go back home, the paperwork goes to the consulate in that country, in Jamaica, and then they would begin to get that person ready by way of an interview, and they prepare their police reports, medical reports, interview, all that stuff happens in that country.
Okay.
And once that process is complete, then they get their approval, and then you get your green card, and you come up.
Now, the green card, is that like a temporary green card, permanent green card? Like, how does that work?
Now that would be a permanent green card. Now we do have an issue with conditional residency. That's one, if you like to use the word temporary green card. It's not called temporary, it's conditional.
Okay.
In other words, you're here, since you recently got married, it's for people who just got married. They got married May 1st of 2018. They got filed for in July 1st of 2018. So recent a marriage, the government is already wondering, is this a legitimate marriage?
Right.
So since they don't have the immediate proof, they will allow this particular relationship to move on and give this person a residency card for 2 years. If in 2 years you are in good standing, the relationship is strong, everything is good, no problems, then they will grant you a permanent residence card. So it's testing the waters on a new relationship. But if you're at least married for 2 years and then file, they wouldn't even go with the conditional. They would automatically give you a permanent if everything is fine.
And that's if the person was already here, not coming from the other
Right,
country.
exactly.
Okay. So, all right. So you did your petition. The U.S. did everything it's supposed to do. They approved this side of it. Jamaica approved their side of it. My husband is here. Yay.
Right.
Right. Okay. How do we go from that to someone being deported by ICE?
Well, now, as I do deportation, removal defense is what it's called. Now, typically the reason why someone is being deported is that they violated a rule. You can be here on a green card, so you entered legally, all right? But somehow you found yourself caught up in a drug scheme. Now,
You don't know you're in a drug
well, you knew, or if you did know, but you knew. For the most part, you knew, right?
Right.
You know. Well, you got caught up. You didn't know what you did know was that they would come for you.
Right. Okay.
All right. Not only were you going to get locked up, that's what you probably thought, but you're going to go home. That's what they're not expecting.
Okay.
So, what criteria is available, or what criteria is used to keep me here? Well, or keep the convicted here.
Okay.
And I will tell you, it's a very strict situation that they follow. You have aggravated felony. Typically, drug selling is considered an aggravated felony under federal immigration law.
Okay.
And if you are an aggravated felon, you do not have available to you certain reliefs.
Right.
Such as a big one called cancellation of removal. We want to stop the removal. If you're found to be an aggravated felon, you can't stop the removal. You have to find some other level of relief, but there is none. So the deportation defense is about coming in front of the judge and explaining to the judge, one, whether we are going to admit the allegations that has been alleged,
Right.
or deny them, and what type of relief is available and whether the judge and the government accepts that relief as eligible relief for us to continue and fight.
Oh, okay.
So it gets tricky because sometimes there is just no relief. There are some of the reliefs are not what we want. A relief can be voluntary departure, where they say, look, we won't kick you out by grabbing you and shoving you in a plane.
Right.
We'll allow you 4 to 6 weeks for you to pack your stuff up and go on your own volition. We'll give you that opportunity. Now, that is a relief to be with dignity, leave with dignity.
Right.
Okay? And there's some things about where you can work it out, where you can try and come back into the country. But that's another process.
Right.
But for the most part, that's the only way you can really do this without looking like a true convict.
Right.
But it's a long and very expensive process, but worth it if you have the money. Okay.
Well, I would hope so. If you were caught up in a drug scheme,
In a drug
I would hope
scheme,
that you
yes,
had some form of finances or financial gain out of it somewhere put to the side.
Exactly. But
Right. I mean, we're not promoting.
Of course not.
We are not promoting.
No. But you still want to be smart about the
drugs
things
at all.
you do. Don't do drugs. Don't mess with drugs.
Don't sell
Leave
them,
it
don't
alone.
get in it. Understood.
Don't just have a green card either. Don't do that.
Okay. So, all right. Well, that's good to know because a lot of people don't know the process. They think it's just, oh, this person, is not from this country. They came in here. They were caught up in something illegal, or not even caught up in something illegal. They just are just here, and they're not an American citizen. and they were found, like maybe a neighbor called and
Right,
said,
they
this
overstayed their
person-
visa.
Yeah, like this person didn't cut their grass like I wanted them to, so I'm just gonna call ICE and come get them.
Right.
You know, people think like maybe just because they're there that they would just automatically get, you know, deported.
Yeah, but no.
But it's reasons.
It's right, and there's opportunities for you to fight for your chance to stay here.
Okay.
You know, so you still have that opportunity. You still have that option.
Well, that's great to know. It really is. So you really have given like wonderful information, especially for those that don't really understand how immigration goes, because you know you see it in the news and you have this view about immigration and then you have this view about immigration, so you don't really know the in and outs of it and what's really happening, and you know, especially from the legal side of things. So I
Right.
do appreciate you for giving myself as well as the audience this type of information. But we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're gonna go to my favorite segment, which is Plead the Fifth, and that's where I'm gonna ask you questions and you either answer them or plead the fifth. No, it's awesome. It won't be that bad.
Okay.
It won't be that bad, okay?
Alrighty.
So stay tuned. We'll be back with Plead the Fifth. Okay, don't go anywhere. Got a quarter? Welcome back to Under Oath with Michelle Bell. I'm your host, Michelle Bell, and I'm still here with Miss Stacey Bradbury of Bradbury Law Practice, LLC, and she does immigration, family law, estates, wills and trust, and tax.
You got it.
All right, so now we're gonna go into my favorite segment, which is Plead the Fifth. So either answer the question or plead the fifth, okay?
Okay. Got
You
it.
ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Have you ever lied on your resume?
I plead the fifth.
What is a secret you've kept from your parents while you were growing up?
This is easy. I plead the fifth. Okay.
Okay. Have you ever fallen asleep in church?
Yes.
Shame. Shame.
Well, because everybody's seen that.
How old were you when you had your first kiss?
Probably, I don't know, 10.
Okay, that's a little early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just experimenting.
Okay, so, and you're from New York, so New York Knicks or Brooklyn Nets?
I'm going to go with New York Knicks.
It's a Knick, always a Knick. Yay!
That was hard.
What?
That was hard.
Well, thanks for playing.
Yay.
Plead the fifth. Now we're going to go into cheat sheet.
Okay.
And this is where you're going to give the audience 3 tips, simple, easy tips in layman's terms, you know, something that they can remember to do.
Okay.
So what do you have for them?
So one of the things is, since we're talking about filing for a relative, make sure that you have money in the bank. Okay? Now, there's an opportunity for you to use a co-sponsor to help with the filing of a relative. Okay? But not everybody's willing to take on a risk because it is a risk. You are responsible for that person until they become an actual citizen. All right? So we don't want you to not have money. Make sure you have money in the bank.
Okay, so that's a good tip.
Yeah.
What's another one?
Another one would be is when your process goes through and you get your green card in your hand, okay? It's not a key for you to walk in to a store and hold up the store.
No, you can't rob the store.
Yeah, let's not rob, let's not get into
Let's not
drugs.
do any criminal activity.
Let's not do any criminal activities, even driving without a license, a suspended license. Don't do those things because you will, those are things that can get you deported,
Okay.
okay? Even with a green card.
What's the third tip?
And the third, and I find this a very, very important tip, is seek counsel if you are in that predicament where there's an underlying criminal charge. Please contact an attorney who has some immigration experiences because what you plead to in that criminal case can affect your immigration case also.
So that the attorney should have knowledge in immigration law as well as criminal law.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Well, those are awesome tips. I hope that was helpful to, the public. And I thank you for being here. Now, if anybody has questions, how do they contact you?
Well, they can contact me through my email, stacy@bradburylawpractice.com, or I do have a Facebook page, and it is entitled Bradbury Law Practice, LLC.
Love it when attorneys are into social media. It's great.
Yes,
So,
I try.
Thank you for being here. You got to come back
Yes,
again
thank
so we
you.
can go over a whole nother topic of yours, okay?
All right, sounds good.
And thank you for tuning in and watching the show. This is awesome. If you want to contact me or anybody else that has been on the show, or you just have questions you want to submit for jury duty, office hours, or even plead the fifth, you can go to the website, which is www.mbunderoath.com. Also, check out the other shows. You can do that. We're all on social media, so find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everything. Subscribe so you get all of our notifications of when the new shows are there. We give out legal tips. I mean, it's just awesome information out there. You can't really say that you don't know. So definitely come back, and we'll see you at the next show.
Yay.